Welcome to the GenX Pole Arts podcast, Fit, Fierce, and Fearless. I am Zen, also known as Nancy Adzentoivich, the founder of GenX Pole Arts. I am happy to be launching this podcast where we are going to be celebrating the strength, resilience, and potential of women over 40 in the vibrant world of pole dance. I'm excited to embark on this empowering journey with you guys. And each week, we will connect with inspiring women who are redefining what it means to thrive in their 40s and beyond. From incredible stories of personal transformation to tips on building strength and confidence, we'll explore the boundless possibilities that pole dancing offers for self-expression and empowerment. Whether you're a seasoned dancer or just curious about the journey, there's a place for you here. So grab a cup of coffee, a sparkling water, whatever turns you on, and get comfortable. Let's celebrate the incredible power of women who are embracing their passions and pushing boundaries at every age. And don't forget to subscribe and join our community on social media and sign up for the 15-day pole dance challenge if you haven't done so already. All right, now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to Fit, Fierce, and Fearless, episode 16. I am Zen, your host, and I am really excited because today is a milestone day on the podcast. We are joined by my friend William, and William is our first non-female guest. I know we talk about women and I preach about women and I talk about women in the opening and on the website and everywhere else. However, if you remember my episode with Kat from London to Pole, she brought up the fact that one of her favorite things about our community happens to be the men that we dance with, because the way she phrased it was she's always so surprised by the combination of strength and grace that the men possess. So now, aren't we lucky we get to talk to William about what it's like to be one of the men in this pole community that we love so much. Thank you for being here. I know you were super busy all week with lots of things going on in your professional life. So I am grateful to you for being here. And you're wearing the beanie. It looks so cute on you. I love it. Do you
Me
want to
too.
introduce yourself?
Hi, so happy to be here. First off, I've always wanted to do a podcast, and so this is kind of a dream come true. But I'm William, and I've known Nancy for what, almost, I think we started pole about the same time, actually,
Probably
um,
like towards the end of COVID.
21-ish. I'm trying to think. I think I've been doing pole now, I think in August, it might be 4 years.
Yeah,
So
and
I think
that's
we're
like
about,
me. I think that I'll be 4 years in like September. Think it's 4. I go back and forth. Like, was it 4 or 5? But I think it's 4 actually.
we might be able to look up on our like secret pay history, and
That's
because I've
true.
done that before. I think I want to say it was like August 2021 ish. So it's coming up on 4 years.
Yeah, because when was COVID? 2021?
Started in March of 2020.
2020.
Yeah,
Okay. Anyway,
the
around the
lock,
same time.
the lockdown or whatever. For me, anyway, that's when they cut all our work off for a year and a half.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, thank you. How old were you when you started pole?
Uh, let's see. I think I was 37. I'm 41. I'm gonna be 42 in August. So
Hmm.
not quite Gen X, but almost.
Yeah,
Right.
you're like that late millennial
Yeah, I'm,
or
I'm an
early millennial, I guess. Early.
elder, an elder millennial. I
Elder
actually don't
millennial.
really feel like I identify with millennial. I'm more something like in between, because all my cousins and brothers and sisters were Gen X. They're all
Hmm.
in their 50s now, or early 50s.
I know.
So I
I can't
kind of
believe we're that old. It's so
mix
weird
that.
sometimes to think about it. But yeah, you don't come off to me as being millennial, but I think there's almost like 5 or 10. The millennial generation is so big, like the number of years. I don't even know how many years it is, but I feel like that beginning of the millennials, because Gen X is such a small, I think we're just 10 years. So it's like the early 80s. I feel you guys are still part of
Some
us.
yeah.
Yeah.
For Nirvana, and I remember early Madonna stuff. And
Yeah.
I remember when MTV was like just coming on when I was a kid,
So
and
that counts. You're Gen X, dude,
like like mesmerized by the music videos that would come on. And
right? Now look at us.
yeah,
We're like in the music videos.
we are.
I mean, maybe not actually, but our
Everybody's
peers
in videos. Everybody's in
are.
videos these days, right?
That's true. We make our own,
Yeah, we're all music video vixens.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what made you start Pole back in
Well,
2022?
yeah, like I always would be on Instagram for years before I started, and just these random poll videos would show up, and they're always guys, of course. And I always thought like, oh, that looks really cool, but I never thought that I would actually be able to do that. Like to me, that seemed like some like Olympic level skills. And so, in the pandemic, my friend Johanna started going to Secret, which is, I
Hmm.
guess, like our home studio, right?
Yep.
I know you have a lot of studios, but um, so she started going to Secret. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and it seemed so exclusive, and I was like, "Oh, I got to get in on this." Um, and so I went and I took a lesson, and then started going to classes, and I kind of naturally was able to do certain things, and I was looking back at the videos like, oh my god, I can't believe I can actually do that. And
Right.
so for me, I mean, because I'm a musician as a profession, like that's what I do. um, and so when the lockdown hit, I didn't realize how important it was to have that creative outlet through work. I mean, I just kind of was almost getting resentful of it
Mm.
before the lockdown, because it just became work, and I started to focus on the stuff that maybe I wasn't so excited about, or certain people got on my nerves, or I hated showing up to this one place or this one conductor or whatever.
Hmm.
So then when all that was taken away from me, I realized, oh my God, I'm really lacking this creative outlet that I just took for granted. And it was there all along. And it was such a big piece of who I am as a person. And so I don't want to say like I went nuts, but kind of, I started like making all these Instagram videos. That was kind of like my outlet to be like doing silly dance videos. And so then when I
You still
stumbled,
make silly Instagram videos, and I love them.
not like I used to, but I know it, they were serving a purpose at the time. But I, I fell into pole, and that was became like that was my outlet for the pandemic.
Hmm.
Going to choreo classes and wearing a mask and just shaking ass and spinning around the pole. It was like the best thing I could have done. So
Hey, I think
yeah,
it saved my sanity during that time, because the same thing. It was like just no creative outlet, no sense of community. Because even when, like you're saying, everybody gets to that point at their job, what no matter what kind of a job it is, where you start to resent like going to work, and then the people at work, it's always the same people, and you're like, that person's annoying, that person's whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then when you don't have that, or when we didn't have that and we were isolated by ourselves, it's like, even though I don't think of work when I worked in an office as that being my community, it kind of is, because you spend so much time working with those people. Like,
yeah. Even if they
what
aren't your favorite people, but it's still
it, yeah, it's still like an exchange of energy, because you're in person in a room with people, whatever. And then when we were isolated and we were home by ourselves, I mean, my kids were here, but they were in their bedrooms. I was in like in my room, and it was like just soul sucking. So yeah, going to Secret, and Secret has come up on every single episode because just about everybody who's been a guest so far started at Secret. So the audience has heard about Secret over and over and over again at this point. Um, but
Love.
stepping into that environment, like that club vibe with the music in the middle of the day, wearing a mask, right? But then we had all these lights and the sound system, and then we are wearing these heels and yeah, shaking our booty and just feeling cute. It was like, oh, it was almost like a community, but like, I don't know, on acid.
Yeah, I know.
Right? It was like, whoa, this is really amazing. How
I,
cool.
I
All
keep
my
like,
senses were like turned on at once, and
yeah,
there were cool people there.
I keep wanting to get back to that, but it's like I have to go to work now, and that just kind of like kills the blitz, you know? Like when I could literally show up every day over there, and I live in Pasadena, so it's a bit of a drive, but I was going all the time, and it was like the best thing. And
Yeah,
I
it's
uh,
far for you for
someday
sure.
when I retire, I'll get back to
Are
that.
you retiring sometime soon?
um, mm, I don't know. I would love to, but I don't think I'm there yet.
All right. I think you're pretty young to retire, but what do I know?
I would miss music. I mean, I would be really sad if I wasn't doing what I do for a living, I think.
Mhm. Do you wanna talk a little bit about your music and what you do? And do you see any correlation between what you do and the type of music you play and then your pole life or what you experience in studio? I don't know if there is any connection there, but
Yeah, well, we can talk about like the connection first, and then
okay.
if you to kind of go into any background. Well, I'll just tell you. Okay, so I play the bassoon. It's a woodwind instrument. I've been doing it since I was 11 years old. So I guess that means 30 years. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I came out to Los Angeles in 2007 to study at the Colburn School downtown. It's a really like small niche kind of conservatory. There's only maybe 100 students there. Um, and I got a job playing at the opera. And so that happened my second year. I was in a 2-year graduate program. So I got the job at the opera, and then just things kind of slowly took off and I settled in place. And I've been here for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
One exciting thing I do is play for TV and film, uh, streaming, and uh, soundtracks, and just all kinds of studio recording.
I
So
think
that's kind
that's so cool. Like, what a
of,
cool job. And how cool that you've been playing. Have you did you start with the bassoon or did you transfer to the bassoon from something else like piano or
yeah.
flute,
So
all those entry level entry type of instruments for kids?
yeah, I never really had any formal training until I got to middle school, and then I picked up the clarinet because everybody plays the clarinet or
Yeah.
trumpet or saxophone, like one of those
Yeah.
three, and or the flute. And then they asked me at the end of the year if I wanted to switch because they needed a bassoon player, and there's really usually only one at that level anyway.
Mhm.
So I did it, and I liked the challenge. I liked the uniqueness of it. I liked um, the expressive range and capabilities of it. I mean, because it can be really lyrical and beautiful, or it can be really comical, or it can be really ugly, or
Mm.
just kind of, it's got a wide range, and I think it's similar to human voice, and that's why I think it fits in opera nicely. Uh,
Wow.
yeah,
I think the bassoon is has a very, and this may be a stupid thing to say, but a very expressive tone. I mean, every instrument does, but there's something because of the warmth of it, maybe the depth and the warmth of the tone. It just is. different to me anyway when I hear the bassoon. Has you're right, like more of a humanistic kind of a tone. Maybe I'm not using the right word.
Well, yeah,
Timbre? I
Tam,
don't know.
that's all right.
Timbre?
Yeah,
Yes. So it feels it can, for me, listening to, and I've heard William play at the LA Opera. I've seen him in the pit. It's so cool to like show up and see your pole friend like sitting in the pit orchestra at the LA Opera at the, is it the Music Center?
yeah.
What do they
I
call
mean,
it? Yeah.
Dorothy Chandler Pavilion.
Yes, the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, super famous music venue. Oh my goodness. But to hear
The
it,
Oscars.
it's
The Oscars
what?
were there. That's where the home of the Oscars for a long time. Bro, if you look at
Okay.
old footage of the Oscars, you can
You're
see.
so glamorous, your
Yeah,
life. You're like
it's
playing at
LA.
Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, home of the Oscars, and you're going to like all these different sound stages at all the different film studios, playing music on these movies that we go see and TV shows. I mean, it's super cool. And here you are on my podcast. So lucky. Well, just to finish what I was saying about the bassoon, I think when I hear it, it brings it makes me emotional, right? It has a different kind of effect, like it touches me. I'm going like this because I think you can kind of feel it. And I was married to a bass player for a long time, and I think the bass has some unique aspects to it too. Acoustic bass, the way that it sounds and it feels, you could feel it.
Yeah,
But in any case, so that is a super cool story. You've been in LA for 20 years. That's a long time. It goes fast, right?
yeah. I guess it's like more like 18, but who's counting? That's
18, 20. Yeah. Who's counting? and and so you mentioned when you started talking about the bassoon and the music that there was some connection maybe to pole for you.
yeah. I mean, well, my whole life is centered around, especially in the studios, is centered around playing on the beat. So
Oh, mhm.
for me, if I'm like learning choreo, it's hard for me to not like have some sense of like this has to land here and then dun 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 dun. You know, like I think that's just naturally helps. I mean, not saying that I'm dancing perfectly on the beat all the time, but I'm thinking I am in my head. You know, I feel like I'm probably sometimes it's hard. It's hard to dance a medium to fast tempo, I think, and have everything hit right on the beat. And you even
It's
see that with, like professional dancers sometimes, like backup dancers and that sort of thing, like where
yeah.
something kind of lags, or and then you hear it too because I play for ballet, which like that music has to be on the beat, like just
Mhm.
right. You have to have everything just right in the right spot. But then sometimes you hear like we play and then they like they land after us.
And you're
So
like,
it's like
oh,
that natural kind of lag and dancing that you have to. And then I feel like if you stay too on top of it, it's like gets a little stiff or a little white or something.
yeah, I was gonna say like when you're playing jazz, you have to be able to kind of uh swing with,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even know if that's the right way to talk about it, but as from a playing music point of view, like a little bit behind the beat, and just play mess with that, right? You mess with the when you're improvising with other musicians, right? Like you have the beat and then sometimes you get behind it a little, sometimes you speed it up a little and play around with one another the way you're going back and forth.
yeah.
I don't know. You might not. You're probably like, what is she talking about? I am
No,
not
I
a
know exactly
musician.
what you're talking about because I actually grew up in a family like my brothers and my dad played drums and guitar and things like that.
Yeah.
My dad and my younger brother, are still pretty active with it. So I kind of grew up around popular music more, and then when I got to playing in orchestras, everything is like watch the conductor,
Right.
be with the conductor. Um, but then I was kind of more like I'm using my ear, I'm listening to the people around me.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes that might make me a little bit behind, but I would much rather be kind of in the beat than in front of the beat. In the
Like in the pocket. That's what I'm thinking. Like when you're in the
yeah,
pocket, right? So, yeah, when you're dancing, I mean, yeah, you probably are always on the beat. It's just your musicality is just in you. Like for many other dancers, we have to learn that. That's something to work on. Even when you compete at PSO, musicality is one of the things they score you on. So it's like, some people will get on a pole and just do trick, trick, trick combo, land on the floor, do a couple little moves, back up the pole, trick, trick, trick. And there isn't really, they're not hitting any beats.
yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if they're even hearing the music, honestly, because they're just, the music is on and they're doing their thing, but it's
It's
not
just like pole
connecting.
tricks.
Yeah, it's not really connecting in a way that I would say, I don't want to say I wouldn't call it dance because that's not true. But yeah, it just doesn't seem connected. The
Yeah,
musicality. They're not using the music, I guess.
I feel like the music to me is critical. Like if it's not the right song, I am just it's nothing good is coming out. You know? Or at least not anything that I feel satisfied with.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if I'm thinking if okay, like I'm gonna do a solo at Secret or something, or the downtown at Precinct or some other event, I'm really bad at choreo, like coming up with choreography.
Mhm.
My it's too like I don't know, my brain is too ADHD or something to sit down
Mhm.
like okay, I have to do this here and this here. So like the way I think about it is okay, like where are the high points in the song and what am I going to do at that point and and I'll get there how I get there. But like I'm going to do this invert at this one spot because that's like where it will have the most effect. And then I'll try to work in this ballerina spin at the end, like so I don't so it finished strong or something. So like
Yeah.
that's
So you kind of have, it sounds like, some ideas in mind of different tricks or shapes you want to do, and
yeah,
and kind of where in the music you're going to do them. But then all the in between is just like freestyle.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Usually what I'll do is like if I'm doing spin pole, like the chorus will be like when I'm on the pole spinning, and then the verses will be like in bit like floor work or audience stuff.
Yes. That's how I think about it too. And what you just said about the choreo, um, I talked about this in one of my episodes that I did by myself a while ago. Like I I really don't like to memorize choreography. It's fun. I like to go to class and do choreo because I feel like once I get it in me and I can like dance it, then it feels really good. But I have a hard time coming up with choreography for myself. Like when I've competed at PSO, one year I did the free dance category because I felt so stressed the year before when I was trying to come up with the choreography. And then when I got up there, I ended up freestyling part of it anyway. Like I feel like it's constricting for me to try to make myself do a choreo that I come up with, if that makes sense. Like it's more free in my
When
mind to do the freestyle, but like you said, having some combination of tricks in mind ahead of time, because I'm not really good at like coming up with a trick combo on the spot.
yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. When I tried to do competition, that was what I just like hit a wall trying. I had like this idea of what I was going to do at the beginning, and some of the spins I was going to do, but I don't know. And then that's the other thing, like the competition idea. I mean, I get it. I think it's great, and I think it causes a lot of people to really improve in their pole and work hard. But for me, and I'm this way in music, I just am not a person that thrives on competition because I just don't like to compare myself to anyone else
Mm-hmm.
and to think, oh, well, I did bad or
Yeah.
what I did wasn't good enough or and maybe on somebody's score sheet or whatever that's what it was, but for me it was just me doing my thing and if it didn't quite work out from a technical place then I don't know. I
Yeah.
I kind of struggle with I like it in one way, but I just don't think it's for me, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm more of
Yeah.
a an art like you know doing something at secret or a
Yeah.
show. I'm
You're
like
an
a
artist.
show person, I guess.
Yeah, you're a
Entertainer.
performer. You're an entertainer. Yes. So you mentioned the precinct, and obviously you perform for a living on your instrument. How do you compare like performing as a pole dancer to performing as a musician? Like what's the feeling? How does it compare?
Well, I mean, I would say so. There's a lot of crossover. I mean, it's hard because I have 30 years as a musician and only 4 years as a pole artist.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard to compare in that way because going and playing in a concert just feels second nature now. I still get
Yeah.
nervous.
You
I
do?
Yeah,
Wow.
especially if it's something like hard or I shouldn't, but I do.
Yeah.
uh, I know a lot. I think a lot of us do. A lot of us
I think
musicians.
it's
We're
natural.
so,
I think
we're
yeah.
so self-critical, and it's everything has to be 100% or it's not right.
Mhm.
But anyway, and then going to me, like stepping on a pole stage at precinct or something is 1,000 times more terrifying
Yeah.
than going and sitting in the opera. Like I can just shuffle in, even though the opera is like 3 hours long or
3
longer.
hours, thousands of people sitting in the who paid a lot of money for the tickets,
Yeah,
but
but
that
that's
doesn't phase you.
I don't think of with opera. I don't think, or performing music. I don't think about those details. I'm like,
Mhm.
this is why I'm here in Los Angeles. Like this is my specialty. I don't want to say I don't know anything else, but like this is what I do.
You feel very secure in your ability, and you're very confident, and you know you're going to come through and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But with pole, also, the other thing is you're a solo performer. So when you're in the orchestra, you have the people, other people on stage. You aren't necessarily visible to the audience, and you're part of a group who is supporting another group. But when you get out on a stage and you're on that pole, it's literally just you, and you're not wearing a lot of clothes. So it's like you're literally exposed, right? You're like figuratively and literally exposed up there on that stage, and it's only you. So I can see how that would be 1,000 times more terrifying, even to somebody who performs for a living.
Yeah. And I also get like really slippery too, which puts like a whole different element of terror. And then I'm also thinking like, God, what if I injure myself and I can't work? Then what?
Oh.
You know, that is kind of like I don't like to call it a cloud, but like that's something that's always kind of hanging over me. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep things in a you know in a little box of what I'm pretty certain I'm not gonna hurt myself.
Mhm. Yep,
Even though
I
I
think
sometimes, but
I think as we get more advanced, I guess, in our pole journey, and we start trying more complicated and difficult tricks, yeah, that thought crosses my mind every once in a while. And I fell from the pole at the beginning of this year, just fell out of a shoulder mount, which I've done a million times. There was no reason at all for me to fall, but I did, and I hit my spine, and I am still like trying to overcome that fear, because now anytime I try to do a trick that I'm a little bit like iffy about, or I'm trying something for the first time, that fear comes back in, that memory of falling. And it's hard
Yeah.
to get that out of your head. For me anyway, once I start thinking like that, the fear really can stop me.
And that's kind of the thing about pole. It makes it really almost extreme in a way. Is like you just have to let go of the fear of like a layback. I can't do. I'm too scared to do that.
What?
I've
You
I've
don't do
gotten there.
labor?
I've gotten there like a few times in classes, but it's a real like mind fuck for me.
Really? I mean, when I think of you on the pole, I think of you doing tricks. You
Yeah.
never come across to me as being tentative or scared. For what it's worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you said earlier something that I was going to ask you about. Now let me see if I can remember what it was. Um, so I don't remember what it was, but I'll ask you this anyway. So, what is it like for you to be one of a handful of guys who's part of this community? So we talk about secret a lot. There are actually, since you've been there, there's a few more guys who have become regulars, more like beginner level, and maybe there's like two other more advanced guys who come every once in a while. So, and then we have male instructors, obviously, and like we were saying before we started recording, we have a full range of gender representations at the studio. Like there's no parameters. Like everybody is welcome, and we have all kinds of people presenting the way that they feel most comfortable coming into the studio. So, but even with all of that being said, I think the female aesthetic is still what is most prominent at the studio and in our art slash sport in general. So, how does that feel to you, or what does it mean to you? And also, when you started pole, did you? I know you said on Instagram you were seeing a lot of male pole dancers on your feed, and that kind of gave you the idea of wow. And you also said that looked like some Olympic class kind of shit, right? So, I'm just curious, like, what prompted you to get in there and try it, and how does it feel now that you are such an important part of our community too? Everybody knows you.
Oh.
You're
Well,
surrounded by all these women.
yeah, when I first, my friend was talking about, oh, I'm going to go to Secret and I'm going to take a class. And, it sounded so elusive or, you
Yeah.
know, then you walk in and it's like through the gate, it's up the stairs and then nobody's there. And then they come out with the clipboard and,
Yeah, yeah. What am I getting myself into?
and I was kind of thinking like, oh, they're all going to laugh at me. They're going
They're all
to,
gonna what?
they're all going to laugh at me. They're like, who is this white
Laugh
boy
at you.
trying to dance? That's really what I thought. Like, they're just going to think I'm, because I didn't really know. I like you said, I thought it was like a space for women, and like maybe I shouldn't even be in my underwear.
Aw.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
just, because I had nothing, and looking back on it, those were all like stupid, kind of self-sabotaging thoughts to have, but and 100% the opposite is
Yeah.
true. Like it's the most accepting and encouraging place, no matter where you are in your level or body challenges or whatever you got going
Mhm.
on. Yeah, so once I kind of got over that initial hump of just getting in there, then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is my place. And I never
Yeah.
did really think about like it is a bunch of women or male and female, or
Mhm.
I don't tend to really think in terms like, sometimes I'll be someplace in public and then all of a sudden I'll realize, oh, I guess I'm the only white person in
Yeah.
here. But it's not something I really think about. So, I mean, from that And also I'm a gay man, so I grew, all my friends were girls growing up anyway. Um, but I have heard of some studios that are not very accepting to others.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah. I've heard of that too. And I think that's unfortunate. And I know somebody, another male pole dancer who was somewhere in Asia recently, and they wouldn't let him into the pole studio because no men were allowed.
in Asia.
Uh-huh. I forget what country he was in.
So I mean, I can understand it from the perspective of, a safe space for women that might have been trying to recover from some sort of trauma.
Hmm.
I can see that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but to I've heard of like there's this, I don't know, there's this place in the area um that I've heard, and it's actually not in LA County, but it's nearby.
Okay. Well,
um
it will remain nameless.
yeah, and I've heard that like I had a friend visiting in town with a musical that I was actually playing on, and he was like, "Oh, let's go, book some open pole." And um, he like tried to call up, and it was this whole weird thing. Like they didn't want to book him, but they were also like kind of dancing around why. I don't know. So there is that, but I haven't yet to feel that in any of my circles or studios that I've been to. Everything has been just great and supportive and fun. So
I'm
hallelujah.
happy. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. That's how it should be. Because that's
Yeah.
why we're doing it, right? We're not trying to get in any kind of political back and forth or
Yeah.
feel ostracized. No, the opposite.
Yeah. So I love
So
I love
what's
the girls.
what?
I said, so I love the girls.
Yeah, we love you too. We love you. Um, what surprised you the most about yourself when you started, or even now when it comes to pole?
I was really shocked at how good
Yeah, you could
how
say it. You should be proud of yourself.
I was just like was shocked at how good I looked in the videos,
Yeah,
because it doesn't feel like that when you're on the
I
pole.
know. Oh my God.
Like,
I always say, like, at least the first month or maybe 2 that I was doing pole, I just laughed at myself. Like, I wasn't taking it seriously because I felt awkward and I felt like I looked awkward. But then the more I looked at the videos, the more I started realizing that, I actually look kind of good. And some of them I was like, oh, that's kind of hot. And I was like, okay, so maybe I'm not as dorky as I as I feel. Right? I get it. Like I thought that I thought that it was a joke. Like I never thought that personally I would look like the people who I saw that I was like, "Whoa, that looks amazing. That's so hot. Those tricks are crazy." And then, you know, over time I was like, "Oh, I'm kind of like on my way to that. Like I'm getting there." And I stopped laughing at myself, you know? I was
yeah, you're
more,
on the hoop these days, by the way.
"Aw, thank you." I went to the studio to work on some hoop stuff this morning, and it was one of those days where I just felt, like, weak. Like, everything I was trying to do, I was like I just felt like I had no energy, I felt weak, you know?
That's
Sometimes
half.
that happens, we
I
have
feel that
those
way.
days.
Like, yeah, I feel that way like 1 out of 3 days I go there at least. It's hard. I
Um,
mean, it takes a lot, and we're all trying to take care of ourselves and our families in this crazy world and this
yeah,
psycho
it's
people that are in charge.
oh god. Yes, that is one thing when I go to the studio and I'm doing pole is I don't think about politics, and I don't think about, like, all of the crazy, terrible stuff that's waiting for me when I leave, on social media or the news or the radio or whatever. Like, I appreciate that about the environment at the studio. It's very multi-sensory. So besides trying to think about what it is I'm trying to do, it's also the lights and the music and everything else. So there isn't any room in my brain to be like ruminating or worrying or, you know, just thinking about the stuff that makes me anxious
Yeah.
other than the trick I'm trying to do. And I'm like, oh, am I going to fall on my head?
Well,
It
you're
keeps me
present.
grounded, like in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like yoga or something. It's like meditation in a way.
Yep. That is where Zen pole comes from.
Yeah.
That's
There you
my
go.
moving meditation. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So just knowing that there are people who listen and people in the Gen X pole arts community who haven't started pole yet, but they're kind of a little curious about it, a little bit like, I don't know, wondering if it's for them, if it's something they could possibly do. Should they try it? Would they be able to do it? Like, what do you, we all had those thoughts too before we started, right? So for
Yeah.
you, if you're thinking about somebody like you who right now is thinking about, oh, it sounds kind of cool, but I don't think I could ever do that, or I don't know if I want to be in my under, like, all those things. Like, what would you have to say to them based on your experience?
I would just say, life is short. If you have some kind of impulse or curiosity about it, why not just go for it? The only thing that's stopping you is your feet walking into a studio and the $20 or whatever it takes to take a class. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, there's something for everybody. There's a trick for everybody. You can wear what you're comfortable in to an extent that, you know, you may or may not be able to grip the pole in certain things.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear a thong or something just you don't even have to wear the heels. Um, just get in there and walk around the pole and do some moves. And if you like it, keep going. And if you don't, then maybe, you know, enjoy it some other way. Go watch a show or.
Right. At least you tried it.
But I don't see how you wouldn't love it if you had that interest in doing it.
I'm with you. That's what I think. That's why I'm constantly trying to encourage people to, like, don't let their fear stop them or their doubts, because we always all have those fears and doubts. But
Yeah.
if we listen to them, we would never do anything new,
Yeah.
right? We talk
Yeah.
ourselves out of things.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be about we all
That's my dog coughing. Sorry.
um, it shouldn't be about your body. We all have our own struggles or, you know, there's room for everybody.
Yeah, I love that. All right. I think that we're going to have to end it there because my battery is dying. So I just want to thank you. I love talking to you. I think you are so rad and just a cool
You
person
too.
to know.
You're
I,
so inspiring to me.
aw,
Like your dedication and your just enthusiasm and your growth. That's all really amazing to watch.
oh, that's so sweet. I
Yeah. I
appreciate you. I
think
really,
you
really
inspire
appreciate it.
people. I really
Thank,
do.
thank you.
And we
Thank you
didn't
for
talk about
saying that.
we didn't talk about farts. Fart friend.
William sends me fart memes and videos every day, and I love it.
Well, it's not just you. Like people are sending them to me all the time. It's like I don't think I post that much about it, but it's
You're
like
known as like the fart guy.
I'm everybody's fart friend. Like they feel okay they feel safe. It's a safe space.
Anytime I see something about a butt hole or a fart or like poop, I'm like, forward, send it to. It's like we're in middle school.
No. but I'll give you the validation you need for
Thank you.
it.
All right. I'm going to put your Instagram handle in the show notes so people can follow you. If they do, maybe they'll see some fart content, but they
Yeah,
also
check
might
it
see
out there,
some
not always.
might see some poll content and some music content as well. I don't know. But thank you for being part of my poll family. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, this was awesome.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to leave a comment. If you have any questions for William, you can write them in the comments and I'll make sure he gets it. And subscribe, tell your friends. We're really happy that you're here. For now, take care. See you soon. Bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fit, Fierce, and Fearless, powered by GenX Pole Arts. I hope you feel inspired by the incredible stories of strength and resilience that we shared today. Remember, it's never too late to embrace your potential and unleash your passion. If you enjoyed this episode, please, I would appreciate it if you would take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave me a review. Your support really helps me to continue to uplift and empower women over 40 in our pole dance community and beyond. Don't forget to connect with me on social media for more inspiration and updates. I'd love to hear your stories and share in your journey. So until next time, keep dancing, keep shining, and remember that your strength knows no age.